It seemed odd that the cold rain outside my window always enveloped me with an overwhelming sense of warmth. I would often sit at my desk with nothing more than pen and paper and listen to the powerful rhythm of nature beating at the glass. My ink seemed to flow in a pattern similar to that of the storm. At times it was violent and unrelenting, and occasionally the story seemed to create a void, an eye of the storm, where everything was calm and serene, and the reader was left unaware of the impending danger. I peered out of my open window and dreamt of the places I would never go. The mountains, the rivers, the forests. I thought of the waterfalls that would never cascade over me, the waves that would never crash down upon me, and the sand that would never get stuck between my toes. I leaned back in my chair and tapped my fingernails against the desk as I gazed out of my window at the midsummer storm. She entered, staring at me with practiced eyes before heading to the window. Words must have flown from her mouth, but I heard nothing over the thunder. She slammed the window shut, folded her arms, and left. "I love you." They drifted from her lips like it had 1,000 times before. It was beginning to sound more and more like goodbye. The truth was that I was married and in love, but the recipients, like the concepts themselves, were separate. Unfortunately for it, there was a great oak growing ever so slowly at the base of my window. Year after year, its hardened branches grew larger until it had finally taken from me my one true love, the rain. On this night, I decided to finally strip the oak of its authority over me. I headed for the barn and found just what I needed, a rusty saw hanging by a nail in a spot that was just out of my reach. I should have taken this for a sign, but what I lack in clairvoyance I make up for in determination. I take great pride in sculpting the things I cannot see. I trekked through the mud and the rain and saw in hand until I was next to the mighty oak. I nestled the teeth upon its trunk and stood silently for a moment. As thunder growled and lightning flashed, I gave myself over completely to the rain. I worked hour after hour, deep into the night, until my hands bled and my fingers blistered. I forced my blade deeper and deeper into the wood. Bark flew from the tree with each cut, and I became so engrossed with the rhythm of the steel that I no longer felt the pain in my hands. Growing larger with each pass, it had crawled into my veins until it nestled into my soul. With the full moon directly overhead, the rain stopped. Silence erupted across the night sky. My breath slowed, and I looked up at the great oak. Water poured from my brow into my eyes, and sweat stinging before the rain could wash it away. All was calm. And as quickly as it had started, it began again. The rain beat down on my shoulders like drums as the thunder kept time. Hours continued to pass until shortly before dawn, the task was finished. The great oak would bother me no more. The rain had not stopped. Retiring to my room, I briefly smiled as I welcomed our reunion. Too tired to remove my drenched clothes, I crawled into bed. Of course, this did not please her. She bolted upright, and noise started pouring from her mouth. She told me to think before I act. She told me to be more sensible. She told me to grow up. She'd always been this way. She never really understood me. She never even bothered to try. Year after year, her demands grew larger until she had finally taken from me my one true love, the rain. I headed to the barn.